Hey everyone, today I'm going to bring you on a tour of my Minecraft city. I've been working on a single Minecraft build for almost a decade now, and at the request of my friends and family, I've decided to start a collection of videos documenting it. Today, we're finally entering the city, into the neighborhood coined by locals as South Flag, a rundown, seedy area of the City of New Flagstaff. Although this is a historically rough part of town, South Flag is seeing some improvement by means of some recent urban renewal. South Flag takes much of its inspiration from Dorchester in East Boston, Massachusetts, Portland, Maine, and Detroit, Michigan. Alright, so we're going to start off at this auto garage on the outskirts of South Flag. We're right at the edge of the city here, so if we were to cross this bridge, we'd end up in the town of Chatham, right next door. So we'll go this way. Right away, we've got some triple deckers here. Pretty tight quarters in here. You have some garage space back here, just some tight little backyards, which I feel like pretty accurate at this kind of area. A lot of this is based on Dorchester. We've got a high school right here off the bat. This is South Flagstaff High School, I believe. Yep. You enter from either side of the building, and you've got to kind of walk around front desk right here. There's the other entrance. It's got a whole bunch of classrooms. Not sure about that texture. I wonder if I change that at some point. Yeah, these are all pretty much the same. Go upstairs here. We've got lockers, lots of classrooms, looking out at the city here. You've got a central library upstairs. This is definitely kind of a neighborhood school. It's fairly compact, although it is probably one of the smaller high schools in this build. We've got a cafeteria here. I don't think this school, no it doesn't. This school does not have a gymnasium, although there are some public basketball courts right next door. More houses. Spent a lot of time running these power lines all over town. So you've got kind of a back entrance here. You've got a big parking garage here. This goes out behind the parking garage. There's some pseudo-public parking. A lot of it also will go to these stacks over here. It's big housing authority apartment buildings that we'll get to in a minute. But right here we've got some kind of office building. I don't think I ever actually gave this an industry or a name or anything, but got a little entryway and then just buttloads of cubicles. There's not a lot interesting about this building. Very on purpose. Kind of set back a little bit. I think there is a cafeteria up here, which is a little bit different, but yeah. So we've got this cafeteria. These workers could come eat lunch without having to leave. As we exit the office building, like I said, it's getting a little dark out here, which actually probably will be better for viewing this area. We've got this parking garage that has a Dunkin' Donuts built in underneath. This was based off something in real life. I don't remember what it was at this point. But yeah, the sign for the Dunkin' Donuts back here on... Oh, I don't remember what this street is called. I do have street signs now, so... if you haven't noticed, there are some new mods that have been implemented since I last made a video here. Is this Chestnut Street? It's Chestnut Street, okay. Yeah, and we have these big tenement buildings, or just housing authority buildings, buildings C, B, and A. they are they are separate buildings. They're all just very close to each other. And these are full interior. I won't go through it obviously because it's very, very, very similar. But mailroom and then the building manager. These are all just some little apartments. I have, oh, this one's very small. Some studios and some one bedrooms throughout this building. And all three buildings are almost identical. I did build them all at the same time. It took a very long time because again, I build every block by hand. So these took a very long time to build. But these do let out onto this pier here, this kind of waterfront walk. Oh, just started raining. I did pack some buildings underneath this sort of ever-present overpass that goes through town here, just to kind of get the claustrophobic feeling that I wanted to get. So this is South Flagstaff Adult Education. This is the only level of school that I didn't have anywhere else in the city. Again, this is definitely kind of a depressing building. Older style with the baseboard. Just lots of rooms and dark hallways with fluorescent lighting. This just goes onto a roof, I guess. Let's just jump down here, I guess. So we are... Oh, I've confused myself. Okay. Get back out here. So here's the street. Chestnut Street. And like I said, next to the school there, we have some public basketball courts. Just underneath the bridge here. Nothing else that really typically goes underneath a bridge better than some kind of a public sports field. I have been thinking about trying to do a skate park. I did have one at one point. I think I got rid of them all because they just kind of looked weird, but I might try again. Alright, I'm getting a little disorganized here. Let me get back over here. And we've got some public parking under the bridge here that goes back in between all the buildings. We've got an interchange onto the highway above, which is very confusing and convoluted. I didn't really have the space to do anything higher than that, but it would be quite an interesting situation to try to figure out in real life. I'm getting down to the end of the peninsula here. We've got a corner bar, convenience store, and some more kind of older style buildings. I'm not sure what you'd call that. Very, very typical of East Boston and Chelsea. That's what a lot of this area is based on, especially these houses here. We have a big church, big old brick church, Chestnut Street Church, which is based on a church on Chestnut Street in Chelsea, Mass. That's where the name of this whole street came from. Big old church. I really like the way this one looks on the inside. I think this one has a banquet hall in the basement. I don't know that it really has anything in it. It's just a big empty room. But I think I did mean to put like a kitchen down here or something, but other than that, I feel like that's what these banquet halls would be. Just kind of a big empty room until you put something in it. Now we're going to turn down here onto Haynesville Street. This is kind of, I guess, the historic street of South Flag. We've got some cobblestone peeking through the pavement. Even though it's historic, it's still kind of run down and gross. We've got a CVS here. Not very well stocked. We've got one Apple. I'm not sure who put that there. I definitely didn't. Coming down here, we have the Grand Theater. This is one of my favorite interior builds in the entire city. This is based off of a handful of different theaters in real life. Mainly Merrill Auditorium in Portland, Maine, the State Theater in Portland, Maine, and the Worcester Palladium in Worcester, Massachusetts. But this is one of my favorite interiors that I've ever built. And this took so long for me to figure out how to make it all because I didn't really plan much of it. I just kind of winged it. And there were a lot of taking things down and retrying and reshaping. But this is one of my favorite spaces. We've got a little backstage area back here. We do have some a full backstage back here, so we can go back into the loading dock here. We've got some rehearsal rooms back in here, and some changing rooms and things like that. A whole bunch of doors left open. Yeah, and here we get the loading dock right onto the stage there. And this goes out to the loading dock here, but I'll get there in a minute. I'm gonna go back out the front door here. All right, back onto Haynesville Street. Much of Haynesville Street is based on Main Street in Chelsea, Massachusetts. I started building South Flag when I first moved to Chelsea, and so a lot of these buildings are based directly on buildings in Chelsea. Not very descriptive ones, just some boarded up storefronts and things like that. Right across the street here we have Dakota Sports Bar. This is based on a place that I used to go in college called Carolina's. You can see where the name comes in there. See, pretty basic sports bar. Some TVs in the corners. We do have an outdoor seating area, which is a glorified back alley with some seats in it, which is pretty accurate for this kind of a place. And in the end we have a liquor store. Whole bunch of liquor stores here. Right down the end we have the New Flagstaff parking division. You gotta have some boring stuff in here to make the realism a little bit, so just got all these windows, some offices back there. I'm not gonna go through because they're just offices. But we've got a guard shack, and then we've got an impound lot. Again, right under the bridge. It is waterfront, but it's kind of the gross, nobody wants it part of the waterfront. And you'll see some of the better parts over there in a minute here. But first, I'm going to go finish down here at the end of the peninsula. Turning onto Beach Street here, we have, the first thing you'll notice is this big warehouse. I tend to find myself calling it an abandoned warehouse because it just looks like it is, but it's very much not. It's actually one of the most stocked warehouses in this build. I love the texture in the windows here. But we've got some goods in here. We've got some truck lead-ins. Upstairs we've got some more storage. Go back out the loading dock here. I love this building. This is based not as directly on some of the buildings on the East Boston waterfront, down in the historic shipyard area. We have Elliott Street, which has just some residential stuff. I love this building. This is based a lot on some stuff in Chelsea and East Boston, same kind of area. And then Elliott Street is just a back for this other street down here, which I believe, I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to go find out. Well, I don't know if it's actually a street, is it? I think it is. I can't remember the name of it. That's okay. But it's got some triple deckers, which actually I think are single homes. So they're not apartments. It's just one house. We've got some condo buildings here. Row houses, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then some more individual houses here. And very indicative of Bremen Street in East Boston. And then we've got West Pier Park, which I had a lot of fun building, very directly based on Piers Park in East Boston, which has one of the best skyline views of the city of Boston. So I had to make this pier and give it a great view of the city. Look back over here towards the mountain that does not have a name yet, but it was too big to tear down. And I like keeping my terrain a little bit. So in doing so, what I did do was I built this fort. And I'll walk through it here. This is... I don't know if this one has a name either, but very based on battery steel on Peaks Island, Maine. An old World War II fort that looks a lot like this. We've got some pit party fire remnants over in the corner. Again, very indicative of battery steel. You walk out here and see, just goes right out to the water. This would have had a turret on it. Long tunnel. This shader is not doing it justice, how dark it actually gets in here, which I think is pretty cool. Back here to Haynesville Street, we're going to go east on Beach Street. We've got some more kind of empty buildings here. A couple of waterfront shops here. We've got a pizza shop. This little hole in the wall spot. This is vacant. And then we've got a surf and skate shop here. I wasn't really quite sure what to do with it, but made some maybe surfboards. And you'll see why in a minute here. Here's the big Grand Theater mural that you see for coming across the bridge. By the way, the bridge, being this bridge that goes into central New Flagstaff, based on Tobin Bridge, probably one of the more iconic but less appreciated bridges in Boston. And right down here we've got the beach. This is Cardinal Beach. And the pier. Got check-ins here because this is very much a little boardwalk with bars and restaurants. A whole bunch just in a line here. Souvenir shops, restaurants. We got a big pub here on the end with a stage. And then some little stands. And a gazebo down the end. Wow, look at that rainbow right as we get to the end of the pier. This pier very directly based on the Old Orchard Beach Pier in Maine. But getting back into the city, we've got the South Flagstaff Professional Building here. This is just a big building of offices. Just a bunch of units. Oh, you've got a cafe back here. I didn't even know that. I believe this is one of the few working elevators in the city. Should be able to just kind of, yeah. And up on the 5th floor. Yep, just a whole bunch of units like this. Nothing in all of them. Some of them have something in them, but most of them are still empty. Anyway, I'm just going to drop off the emergency exit, the fire escape here. Down into the loading dock of the theater. We have the Stomping Grounds Coffee House. Based on a coffee house I liked in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and the building is also based on a building in Haverhill. Got another apartment building here with a liquor store. And we have one of my favorite visual buildings in this area. Not really sure why. I just love how prominent it is against the other buildings here. I like how it just kind of stands up higher than everything else, and the building it's based on in Chelsea is also very much like this. I realize I said that this area is very based on East Boston, but a lot of the buildings themselves are based on Chelsea because, like I said, there was a lot of inspiration. I started building this neighborhood right when I moved to Chelsea. Back in this area, we have another apartment building, which was based on my old apartment building in Portland, Maine. It did have this obnoxious tile floor just like this. And I lived right here. Little studio apartment. One of my first apartments out of college. My first apartment out of college, actually. This big old abandoned building based on something in Medford that I really liked. Now we're kind of getting into the dingy part of South Flag, which is Beach Street. Or, excuse me, this splits off. This turns into Highland Avenue, I believe, which is from here on out. Whole bunch of apartment buildings and some empty storefronts. Right here on the corner, though, we have this Flatiron looking building, which is the New Flagstaff Public Library, South Flagstaff branch. It's fairly compact, some reading areas, some books, and somewhere here there's a staircase to the upper level. Yep, kind of got to find it in the books, I guess. But yeah. Got the back door here. We do have some offices and a second floor for that as well. Go out into the employee parking. But here are some of the buildings that are make this area what it is. We've got some boarded up, some condemned buildings. Lots of tiny apartments. A big empty lot here. Broken street lamp. Which, believe it or not, actually is based on a spot that I found in Lawrence, Massachusetts. This empty lot like this. Leave it to me to base a lot off something. But, alright, so as mentioned in the intro, we're getting into the area that has started some comeuppance and some urban renewal of the neighborhood. So we have this modern loft building. What did I call it? The loft at Harlan Mills. So this is an old mill building that has been updated. Look very nice, bright, welcoming. It's got a whole bunch of amenities. Meeting room. Haven't been up here in a while, so I'm not really sure what these places are like. Yeah, they're a little simplistic. I haven't done a lot of furnishing to these apartments in the game in general because just that would be so much work. And if you go up to the very top floor, we do have some penthouses, sort of, on the top. So we've got a big living area here, the open concept kitchen, a couple of private decks. Across the street from Harlan Mills, we have a subway stop. Again, a little bit more modern, updated. Another one of the bits of the city putting a little bit more money into South Flag to help its image, help it be a more attractive place to live. So this will be the first subway stop that I show in this series. We do have some turnstiles. Yeah, some ticket machines over there. You go down onto the platforms, and we have some waiting trains. I don't think I have completed these yet. No, I haven't. So in most of the train stations, I think other than maybe 2, all these trains are rideable. And what I mean by that is you can come into the train, you can hit a button, and it will teleport you to a train at the next station. So you can actually come down here and look at where this train is going and take it to the next stop on the line. I haven't put those in this one yet. This is the most recent train station that I've built, so it's not quite up to date yet. And on the back end of this is absolutely beautiful. This promenade park, again looking out at the city. Put some money into this area. All right, so now we're going to come to here. We're going to come to this building here. I'll fly out and back up a little bit so we can see it. This building, actually an amalgamation of a couple of different buildings. The tower itself is based on, oh, look at that sunrise coming up. Where I did make kind of a janky area. There are some nods to Detroit in this area. I did want to bring up some nicer parts of that city because I think there's a lot of nice in that city. And I think this building based on One Detroit Center, one of the most iconic buildings in the Detroit skyline. I really wanted it to be part of it because I wanted to appreciate the niceties of Detroit. So the tower of this building is based on One Detroit Center, and the base of the building down here is actually the base of a, if you want to call it a taller building, in Augusta, Maine. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of put those together, see if I could, and I think it really came together well. I think this is a fairly solid looking building. Inside, it's just another professional building, so a lot of office units that are separated out. A little bit bigger in this one. Next to it, we've got this hotel. I don't remember what it's called. Let me go see. The Welk Inn. Right on the waterfront here, so that makes sense. But I really like the lobby. I put a lot of time into figuring out how this hotel was going to be set up. We've got a little cafe over here, a welcome desk, and then some long corridors of rooms. I feel like somewhere in this hotel there is an Easter egg that I have forgotten about. I do not remember what it is, but I feel like it's there. On the front we do have a couple of storefronts. I haven't put anything in them. I've been noticing I've been building a lot of buildings with extra storefronts, and I haven't really been filling the storefronts, so maybe that'll be a project for the future. Just kind of go around and fill these storefronts. But I've got a little waterfront park here. Not very descript, but I wanted to fill this space with just a small park that, again, just a nice little view of the city. This is a great, one of the best things that South Flag has going for it is its views of the city. Which, again, I took that from East Boston, where from almost anywhere in the neighborhood, you can get a great view of the skyline of Boston. Got kind of another old warehouse mill building, closed to the public. And then on the back here, we've got a strip club because of course we do. And I've amused myself with the fact that this strip club has one of the most detailed interiors in this neighborhood, other than the theater. But yeah. But yeah, that's South Flag. kind of seedy area of New Flagstaff. That's it for this video. I think in the next couple videos I may venture further into the city here so you guys can see how much there is in here. Even I'm still forgetting stuff that's in here. And yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know. Thanks again for watching.